The Panama Canal, one of the world's most important and iconic waterways, connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, allowing ships to bypass the lengthy and treacherous route around the southern tip of South America. Spanning just about 50 miles, 80 kilometers, it has dramatically altered global trade and geopolitics since its completion in 1914. In this blog, we'll explore the history, engineering feats, and cultural significance of this incredible structure, offering a detailed look at how it continues to shape the modern world. The idea of creating a shortcut between the two oceans dates back to early explorers, who were quick to recognize the vast potential benefits of connecting the Atlantic and Pacific. However, the journey to bring this vision to life would span centuries. The concept was first seriously proposed by the Spanish during the colonial era, though it wasn't until the 19th century that the idea gained more traction. The French, under the leadership of Ferdinand de Lesseps, the engineer behind the Suez Canal, made the first serious attempt to construct the canal in the 1880s. Unfortunately, a combination of poor planning, engineering difficulties, and rampant disease such as malaria and yellow fever led to a disastrous failure. Thousands of workers died during this effort, and the French abandoned the project in 1889 after spending significant sums. The failure of the French attempt set the stage for the United States to take on the challenge. With growing industrialization, the US saw the strategic importance of a canal for military and commercial reasons. In 1903, the US struck a deal with Panama, which had just gained independence from Colombia, to lease land for the canal in exchange for financial compensation. The construction of the Panama Canal officially began under US leadership in 1904. The construction of the Panama Canal was a monumental undertaking that required incredible engineering expertise and the mobilization of thousands of workers. Some key aspects of its construction include, unlike the Suez Canal, which was a sea-level canal, the Panama Canal required the construction of locks to lift and lower ships over the Isthmus of Panama, which has a significant elevation difference. The canal's design called for the creation of 3 sets of locks, Gatun, Pedro Miguel, and Miraflores, which are essential in raising ships over the Gallarde Cut, formerly known as the Culebra Cut, a narrow and treacherous stretch carved through the Continental Divide. One of the most significant hurdles faced during construction was the prevalence of disease, particularly malaria and yellow fever. Under the leadership of Dr. William Gorgas, a U.S. Army physician, efforts to control mosquito populations and improve sanitation in the region helped dramatically reduce these diseases, allowing work to proceed more efficiently. The workforce that built the canal consisted largely of Caribbean laborers, particularly from Jamaica and Barbados, as well as workers from the United States and other countries. This multicultural labor force was crucial in completing the canal, but it was not without controversy, especially when it came to worker conditions and treatment. After 10 years of intense labor, the Panama Canal was completed on August 15, 1914, at a cost of approximately $375 million. The canal immediately transformed global trade by reducing the maritime journey between the east and west coasts of the Americas by thousands of miles. From the time the canal opened in 1914 until the late 20th century, the Panama Canal Zone remained under US control. The US operated and maintained the canal, with a military presence in the region, under the terms of the Hay-Bunai-Varilla Treaty of 1903, which gave the United States control over the land surrounding the canal. This was a contentious arrangement for many Panamanians, leading to decades of political tension. While the canal brought substantial economic benefits to the United States, it also caused friction with Panama. Panamanians felt that the US was unfairly profiting from their territory and controlling a key piece of national infrastructure. Over the years, there were several uprisings and protests against US control. After years of negotiations, the United States and Panama signed the Torrijos-Carter treaties, which outlined the gradual handover of the canal to Panama. Under the agreement, the US would continue to manage the canal until 1999, when full control was handed to Panama. Since Panama took control of the canal in 1999, it has continued to be a vital part of the world's economic infrastructure. The canal remains a crucial transit route for global shipping, with approximately 12,000 transits annually. In 2016, the canal underwent an ambitious expansion project, known as the Third Set of Locks Project, which aimed to accommodate larger vessels, called Panamax ships, that had previously been unable to pass through the original locks. The expansion included the construction of a new set of locks at Cocoli and Agua Clara, and the deepening and widening of the existing channels. This expansion allowed the canal to handle ships that are up to 50% larger than the previous size limits, known as New Panamax or Neo-Panamax vessels. As a result, more goods can be transported at once, and the canal can support even more global trade. The Panama Canal has remained a cornerstone of international trade. By offering a shortcut between the oceans, it saves ships valuable time and fuel. In addition to trade between the Americas, the canal is also an important route for goods traveling between Europe and Asia. The canal's expansion has had environmental consequences, particularly with regard to the management of water resources and the potential effects of increased shipping traffic. Panama has also invested in initiatives to make the canal more sustainable, including measures to ensure water conservation and reducing the canal's carbon footprint. Beyond its economic and geopolitical importance, the Panama Canal holds a significant place in the hearts of Panamanians and travelers alike. It is not only a symbol of national pride but also an engineering feat that attracts tourists from around the world. The Panama Canal Museum, located in Panama City, the museum offers visitors a glimpse into the canal's history, its construction, and the people who made it possible. Miraflores Locks Visitor Center is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Panama. Visitors can watch ships pass through the locks, explore exhibits, and learn about the canal's history and operations. The canal also plays a role in Panama's identity. The country's long history with the canal is deeply tied to its sense of self-determination, particularly after the canal's return to Panama. It is a symbol of resilience and pride for the nation. The Panama Canal stands as a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. From its inception as an idea to its status as one of the world's most significant maritime routes, the canal has shaped history and continues to be integral to global trade. Its expansion and modern-day operation show that the canal, while a product of the past, is still very much part of the future. Whether through its remarkable engineering, the lives it has impacted, or the way it continues to connect oceans and people, the Panama Canal remains one of the most impressive achievements of modern civilization. The recent attention from the United States toward the Panama Canal can be seen as part of a broader geopolitical, economic, and strategic interest in the region. While the US no longer controls the canal, having handed over its authority to Panama in 1999, there are several factors driving the US interest in the canal in recent years. The Panama Canal remains one of the world's most vital trade routes, directly influencing global commerce. As one of the busiest shipping corridors, it connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, saving significant time and cost for ships that would otherwise need to travel around South America via the Cape Horn. With the expansion of the Panama Canal in 2016, larger vessels, Neo-Panamax ships, can now pass through, allowing for greater volumes of trade. This has made the canal even more important for global shipping routes. As the US is a major global trading nation, ensuring the stability and smooth operation of the canal remains a key concern for American interests. About 40% of US imports and exports pass through the Panama Canal, particularly for goods between the US East Coast and Asia. Another key factor is China's increasing presence in Latin America and its expanding influence over global trade, including in the Panama Canal region. In recent years, Panama has strengthened its economic and diplomatic ties with China. In 2017, Panama officially recognized China as a key partner by establishing formal diplomatic relations, which marked a shift in Panama's foreign policy. China is also investing heavily in infrastructure projects in the region, including a potential free trade agreement with Panama. Given the canal's strategic importance for global trade, the United States sees China's growing influence in Panama as a potential challenge to its own geopolitical and economic dominance. There's concern that China might try to gain control or leverage over the canal through investments and projects. While Panama has full control of the canal, the US has a long-standing interest in ensuring the security and stability of this vital waterway. The US maintains strong military ties with Panama, largely due to the Panama Canal's importance as a strategic route for military shipments. During the Cold War, the US viewed the canal as crucial to its naval operations, particularly for moving fleets between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The US also monitors developments in Panama to maintain influence in the region, especially as political and economic shifts take place in Latin America. As the canal plays such a central role in global trade, its infrastructure requires constant upkeep and modernization to handle increasing traffic and larger vessels. The canal depends on the Gatun Lake for its water supply, which is essential for the operation of the locks. With climate change impacting rainfall patterns in the region, there are concerns about maintaining an adequate water supply for the canal's operations. The US, as a key global player, has a vested interest in helping ensure that the canal remains functional and sustainable, both for global trade and regional stability. Though Panama took full control of the canal in 1999, the United States and Panama still have a cooperative relationship, particularly on trade and security matters. The US continues to be a key partner for Panama in terms of economic assistance, trade agreements, and investments. The US and Panama have a free trade agreement, FTA, in place, which has bolstered economic ties. The US supports Panama's position as a regional financial and logistics hub, and the canal is crucial to this dynamic. Continued cooperation between the two nations helps ensure that the canal remains a stable and efficient route for global shipping. While the US no longer controls the Panama Canal, its interests in the region remain significant due to the canal's strategic importance for global trade, its role in US exports and imports, and the increasing geopolitical competition with other powers like China. The US focuses on ensuring the canal's continued success, stability, and accessibility, both for economic reasons and for national security concerns. Additionally, the canal's role in shaping the future of trade routes and regional politics makes it an ongoing point of interest for American policymakers.